Yo, what's up everybody? Welcome back to the daily recap here for the Snapdragon Pro Series Challenge Finals Group Stage. We have a special guest. As always, we have Reptar, otherwise known as Remnar from the Philippines. It's great to have you on board. Great working with you.
Great working with you too, man, and I appreciate that the running joke of my life continued. You just called me Remnar. So my name's also actually Renmar, but it's okay. At this point, I feel like I have many names.
Hey man, it's all part of the branding. My name is actually GideonQ, so therefore the GideonQ IGN makes sense. We are going to be talking about unfortunately, there are 3 streams for the Snapdragon Pro Series because all the games are just happening at the same time. So we're only going to be talking about stream A, and if we're lucky to catch some of the other games, we'll bring it up. So in the meantime, let's talk about what happened. Burnix Flash versus Evos Icon. And I'm not going to lie, Evos Icon, you know how they say that they're like, oh, these guys are an MDL team, they don't stand a chance. They're kind of good.
Yeah, they are. So many bright spots, but I think for their opening match, if I remember correctly, it wasn't the cleanest. It wasn't the best. Yeah, they got 2-0'd.
Yes, they
by
did.
Burnix Flash, but Evos Icon, yeah, we saw glimpses of what they will eventually show. Teaser. For what will come up in the next daily recaps, I guess. But yeah, this one was just sort of like a rough start, I guess. And so, I mean, it's the first day of the group stage.
Right? First days are always like either the longest days for a lot of these teams or like there's just the lack of polish, which is usually to be expected here, right? Burnix Flash, as always, they are, oh man, Chaman, Donut. They just work so well together. And the worst part is like Donut is supposed to be an import, so he was like the least likely to drive with the team, but he fits perfectly.
Yeah, so much pressure on Donut as a gold laner import, but then eventually I think kudos to Burnix Flash for really helping him find a second home or a home in the team and in Cambodia, doing really well. And if I remember correctly, he started it off. If it wasn't a game 1, it was probably in game 2. Like he got a maniac, right?
Yes, he did get a maniac.
Yeah, dude. Like, come on. Even though it's growing pains for a new starting tournament. Start off with a maniac.
Start off with a maniac. You know, it's just that simple. But some of the coolest plays that we've seen so far, I recorded it down from Burnix Flash. My goodness, like I'm sorry, on your ATM or ATM, now that he's known by, had some insane resets with Shama. Like it's one of those like theory crafting things that you see in public games that you don't, ranked games that you don't see in professional games. But it's cool, right? Heavy spin into the reset for Arlet, then vengeance. That was dope.
Yeah, and what I like about Burnix Flash, especially in their first match against Evos Icon, was that the best qualities we saw in MSC and the things that they've been improving on for the longest time, they got to show it off. I like how they handle team fights. Sometimes you see teams second guess themselves during initiations, where there are certain members who are off position wondering, oh, should I really still go forward? Where am I going to go? There's things I need to avoid. But yeah, I think that's one of the reasons why Evos Icon lost is because in those moments, Burnix Flash were just way more assertive and way more confident in their team fighting and their initiation that eventually they got it. And yeah, the mechanics that you mentioned, I like how they target during team fights. I like how they handle the Lords very well. That's one of the best qualities they showed when they went up against Echo during the battle for 3rd in MSC. And I'm glad to see that they were still showing that off.
Yeah, love Burnix Flash. Hopefully they continue moving on. Very decisive team, right?
Yeah.
With that being said, we move on to our second match of the day. And this one's exciting because this is the MSC champions versus the recently qualified, newly rebranded AP Brand Onyx versus AP Brand. What are your thoughts?
Oh, AP Brand. I'm glad that the game ended up going to 3. Yeah, it ended up 2-1, if I remember correctly. And then it was Brand that took game number 1?
Brand took game number 1, yes.
Yeah, then game 2 was Onyx. And yeah, game 1, I remember that was the Flooring Boy game?
You are correct.
Okay, yeah. The Flooring Boy game. And I think that was a trial by fire for Onyx. Of course, when it comes to Kiboy, we know him for like setup. We know him for those harder tanks, the flashier tanks. But if Onyx are gonna continue this route and they're gonna keep making sure that Kiboy can play Florin and heroes like that, then that's gonna be them putting themselves in a good position moving forward for not only SPS but of course MPL Indonesia. Meanwhile, for Brand AP Brand, I have to get used to that AP Brand. Yeah. Man, I like what they showed up here with the jungle joy pickup. I remember Kaltizi was really good there, winning a lot of retry battles up against Kyrie. And yeah, it was just a great game number 1 for AP Brand. Game number 2, that was the... It was Kiboy saying, okay, I finally got my hands on a Kaja. Boots has the Masha. Good luck, AP Brand.
I'm sick of these healers.
Yeah, like, I want to heal by dealing damage. So it's not really healing. The only heal I'll have is the regen. That's it.
So true. So true. Like, I think people, and especially people who've been watching my content, know how I feel about, like, just overall compositions that I played, like, with the discipline of Blacklist International, right? You're not like, they're a little bit more flexible with their play style. They're looking for opportunities to make the play rather than being like cool, calm, collective, decisive all the time and then slowly choke out your opponent. I think those play styles, to me personally, I don't like that, but that's on a personal basis. It doesn't mean that it's not effective. It's very effective, as we've seen before, but man, it is tough. I think that, Bren, they came into day 1, I think, with the most polish, right?
Yeah.
Onyx, I was a little disappointed with their performance, but can you really blame them? Like, Sans just recovered as well. MPL Indonesia had ended and they didn't win their games there, so they were having a rough weekend at the same time. So I can't really blame them at that particular point. With that being said, we did get to see one of the cool plays from Onyx, and again, one of those situations where you do not see, you see it in public rank games, but not in pro play. Keyboy and as well as Boots, the combo between the two, the Nature's Barrier into the Kufra, oh man, that was beautiful. Into the Wild Charge, beautiful stuff. But let's move on, right? We're going to be talking about Evos Legends versus Echo. And now Echo is not bringing their full main lineup, so Kaltizi and Benny QT are sitting out of the SPS Challenge Finals. What do you think about this?
Well-deserved rest for Carl Tizzy and for Benny Cutie, but I like the choices that they went for Echo. They picked up Zyda, they picked up Outplayed, 2 players who really stood out for Echo Proud in the MDL Philippines Season 1. They are MDL champions, and fast forward a little bit, the end, when they interviewed Sanford, he mentioned, no, there's no problems at all. It's all smooth playing with them because they're champions in their own right. So giving respect to Zyda and Outplayed. And yeah, Outplayed here played 3 games of Claude. And game 1 didn't go Echo's way at all. I wasn't a fan of their draft as it went on. Initially, I was like, still trying to process things after the draft. I was like, yeah, I think I'm liking this draft. But then once I saw Echo play around, it's like, oh yeah, no, they're going to be struggling. Evos Icon played really well with their Florin Leslie, something all of us need to start watching out more, especially the Florin. Her heal is so deceptively strong in the early game.
It is, but it feels bad. Like, if it's not the roamer who gets shafted having to play enchanter style mages, it's the mid laners nowadays. Like Angela in the mid lane, and like someone like Sanji. I was literally in the back watching this game, right? And Sanji's like, just give me the Eve! Get this Angela out of here! I don't want none of this!
Yeah, and when he got his hands on the Eve in game number 2, he was the guy, man. Him only dying once in that game, because it was a lineup where they had a Claude and of course the Evos Icon lineup. Well, the fact that they had a Martis, Beatrix, Valentina, and the Martis had a really good early game. By the way, day 1 was like such a Martis day. It was like, all right, if you get those 2 that early double kill in like within the first 5 minutes, that's a snowball already. You're good. You're just gonna continue that. But then yeah, Sanji, man, him in game number 2 was just That memory and that game and this series is ingrained in my memory with how epic it was.
And of course, Yawi getting the flank of a lifetime as he's always somehow.
yes.
You mentioned it in the cast where he was just like, "This is some next player Evos stuff. He did this before. He's doing it again." Oh man, that was great. That was great. But moving on, Onyx versus Evos Legends. I didn't write it down because I was casting it, and we had literally the longest game here at SPS Challenge Finals. It was like 37. Well, we're rounding it up, but 37 minutes overall. 36 there.
I remember it was 37, 38. It was either like 36:57 or 37:56.
37, yeah.
One of the other. One of those things.
One or the other. It was, I would say, pretty disgusting because it felt like game one, both sides were like really afraid to engage on each other. Right?
Yeah.
They're like both snowball-oriented comps. And when Onyx finally took the lead, I'm like, okay, they're going to speed up the tempo. They sped it up for like 30 seconds and then just diverted to like playing slow.
Yeah, it was a heartbreaking game one loss for Evos because I remember I was saying I was in the panel at that time. I pointed out that the last time that Evos Legends was able to defeat Onyx in like a pro setting was like March 4th. That was week 3, day 2 of MPL Indonesia, season 11. That's how long it's been. Ever since, all their meetings in the next time in the regular season, in the playoffs twice, and in the grand finals, and in MSC, just complete sweeps. So game number 1, Evos Icon taking the lead, looking like they were gonna win it. I really thought that was it, but then it was just I remember one of the turning points was the fact that they overstayed their welcome. And I think that's one trend we're seeing with teams in SPS. Like, a lot of them are overstaying their welcome after pushing with Lord. They already got the base turrets, but then because they're members of the opposing team low, they're thinking, oh, I think we can continue this. But then some of them are low, but it's like, they're not taking into account that it could get turned around in front of your face. And when you lose 2 or 3 members in that scenario, the other team will have way more potential to like push, get more towers,
and then just like table flip it.
Yeah, and just table flip it completely.
It was annoying, but I can't really blame them only because it's like, first of all, it's Evos Legends, they have the experience, but more so, it was like a really long day. And like once you get into those moments of like, wow, I've already taken out 2 guys, they're on like 60-second death timers, like this is very plausible, and then it just goes south so quickly. So can't really blame them there. I think, Onyx, well-deserved game for them. They closed it out a little bit faster in game number 2. It was a 2-0, and well, I don't know what's up with Evos Legends though.
Oh wait, before that, we got to see Albert play gold. Harith and Claude. Harith in game number 1. It took a while until they were able to pop off of that, but then it worked out. And then game number 2, it was the Claude.
Yeah. I think, Albert is clearly better at his Claude in comparison to his Harith, because you can definitely see the level of confidence of like, oh wow, I have like a escape button for free compared to like, I actually have to dodge out of the way.
Yeah, him on the Harith was always felt like just really trying to find the right position, which is good that you have a gold laner who's cautious, but at some moments you're really wondering, dude, you have Zaman Force down, you have only dashes.
Yeah.
They've used their abilities. Why are you still worried about going in? But Claude way more confident than Albert.
Absolutely. With that being said, that's going to end day 1 Snapdragon Pro Series daily recap with Remnar. Go check him out. Where can they find you?
At Esports Reptar on Instagram, Remnar Santa Cruz on YouTube and on Facebook.
So, Remnar, we've asked everybody the same question. Give me your top 3 cutest boys. Top 3 cutest boys in the league right now, in the competition here at SPS.
Oh, it's so embarrassing because like literally when I went downstairs to hang out with Mirko and the player I'm gonna say, Mirko went to the player and said, yo, he's a big fan of you, which I am. And the first thing I did, he looked at me, he's like, oh, really? And I went like this. Diablo.
Ooh, Diablo.
Kyrie, this is given, and
you got one more slot.
There was someone on Evos Icon when he showed up in camera. I was so surprised. I was like, "You look like that."
Evos
Good
Icon?
for you, man. I just can't remember. Was it?
What role was he playing?
No, because it was just like when they're going through the table, showing the players. It had, and I was like, I didn't realize you. Good for you, dude.
Sutsujin.
Yeah, I think it was Susajin. Yeah, probably.
I knew it.
Yeah.
It's always a jungler.
Yeah. So did I say all junglers? Okay, no, 2 junglers and
Diablo.
and an explainer.
The
Yeah.
handsome devil
The handsome
himself. All right, that concludes it for us here at the Daily Recap.